The city never really slept. Even at midnight, the dull glow of street lamps hummed against Elias's window. The distant sound of cars, the occasional siren, the soft buzzing of fluorescent lights, reminded him life didn't pause here. It never rested, not even when you needed it most. Elias stared at the ceiling, eyes wide open, despite the exhaustion tugging at his bones. Sleep had become a stranger. That's when he felt it, an urge, quiet but certain, a pull like gravity, but gentler, not from the bed, not from dreams, but from outside. Something in the air whispered to him, not in words, but in feeling. And in that moment, without overthinking, without packing, he stood up, pulled on his jacket, slipped on his boots, and walked out into the night. He didn't know where he was going, but the forest, just beyond the city's edge, seemed to call him by name. The drive was silent. Elias turned off the radio. The only sound was the tires rolling across the dark, empty road, and his heartbeat slowing, beat by beat. By the time he reached the tree line, the moon was high, round and glowing like a lantern hung by the stars themselves. He stepped out and breathed in the scent of pine, damp earth, and something ancient. The forest stood like an old friend, arms open. Tall evergreens swayed gently, whispering secrets in a language only the wind understood. Elias crossed a threshold between pavement and soil, and the noise of the world fell away. Every step he took was softer now, as if the ground itself wanted to carry him gently. The deeper he walked, the more it felt like the forest recognized him. And then a flicker, white, low to the ground. A creature stood just ahead, watching. A fox, but not just any fox. Its fur shimmered like fresh snow under moonlight, and its eyes, a soft silver blue. It blinked at him, calm, curious, almost as if waiting. "Hello," Elias whispered. The fox gave a single nod, turned, and walked slowly into the deeper woods, stopping only to glance back. An invitation. Elias followed. The path they walked wasn't marked. There were no signs, no footprints, yet it was clear. Mossy stones led the way between trees, and tiny glowing mushrooms dotted the sides, as if nature herself had lit the trail just for them. The further they went, the softer everything became. Even Elias's thoughts, once loud, fast, jumbled, began to untangle, drifting like feathers on the breeze. He found himself breathing differently, slower, deeper. It felt good, safe, like coming home after a long, long journey. After what felt like an hour, or maybe just a moment, the fox led him to a small wooden bridge, arched over a slow-moving stream. The water below was crystal clear, reflecting the stars like a second sky. Elias paused and looked up. The real sky. It was full, more stars than he had ever seen, like the forest had lifted a veil from the universe. "You brought me somewhere special," he said softly. The fox gave a quiet blink, and for the first time, Elias felt sure. This wasn't just any animal. This was a guide. He stepped onto the bridge, and it would creak gently under his feet. Halfway across, he stopped and leaned over the railing. Below the surface of the water, soft glowing fish swam lazily, and for a moment, the reflection of Elias shimmered. Not just his face, but something deeper, something lighter. He barely noticed it, but the lines on his face had softened. Came a feeling, a memory of laughter, a moment he had forgotten, a walk with someone he once loved. Not sad, just real. The tree, it seemed, held memories, not just his, everyone's. The forest did not erase pain. It held it gently, like a parent holds a child, too tired to speak. Luna nuzzled his shoulder, and Elias smiled. For the first time, in what felt like ages, Luna stood up again, slowly, gracefully. She looked back the way they came. The message was clear. It was time to walk further. Not back, but deeper. Elias followed, barefoot now. The grass and soil beneath his feet felt alive, felt warm. They walked without urgency, as if time didn't exist here. As they moved, the forest shifted. The colors changed, from cool silver to soft blues and purples. The trees swayed gently. It felt like walking through a dream, painted in real time. They came to a second clearing, smaller, intimate. At its center, a pool of water, so still it looked like polished obsidian. Luna approached it. She stared into the surface. Elias joined her, and when he looked into the pool, he didn't see his face. He saw a piece, not as an idea, but as something real, a version of himself, rested, calm, light, unburdened, and somehow the message was clear. You are becoming him, with every breath, with every step into quiet. Elias sat beside the still pool, his thoughts as quiet as the water surface. Then, without warning and without sound, a shadow passed overhead. He looked up. Perched high on a twisted, ancient branch was an owl, massive, regal, silent, its feathers like parchment and stardust, its eyes wide like twin moons. It didn't blink, didn't move, but Elias felt it watching him, not in judgment, but with deep old curiosity. The owl's voice didn't come through sound, but through feeling. You have wandered far from noise, but have you truly heard the silence? Elias didn't answer. He didn't need to. He just breathed. The owl spread its wings and glided silently to the forest floor. It landed beside Luna. She bowed her head slightly, in respect. You are healing, the owl said again, its voice now clear in Elias's mind. But there is one thing still heavy in your heart. Elias looked down. Yes, he knew. Regrets, moments left unsaid, people lost in time. The owl blinked slowly. You must choose, it said. Forget or remember. To forget is comfort. To remember is clarity. The forest offers both, but only you can decide which to carry. Elias closed his eyes. The choice wasn't easy. To forget, Elias crossed a wooden bridge, slowly. The fox, now fully part of the strange and serene world, waited patiently at the far side. The moment his foot touched the mossy path beyond, the air changed. It grew warmer, not hot, but comforting, like the feeling of stepping into a room with a lit fireplace on a cold evening. The trees opened up into a clearing, almost perfectly round. Moonlight spilled like liquid silver onto a bed of soft grass. At the center stood a single tree, tall and twisted, with white bark that glowed faintly in the moonlight. Fireflies hovered gently in the air, pulsing in rhythm like the forest had a heartbeat. Elias felt his shoulders drop. The tension he hadn't even realized he was carrying slipped away. The fox trotted toward the tree and sat beneath it, her tail curling gently around her paws. She tilted her head, and Elias understood this was a resting place. He approached and sat beside her. The grass felt like a thick wool blanket beneath him. For a while, he said nothing, just breathed. The quiet was alive, not empty, but full of gentle sounds. The breeze dancing through leaves, the soft chirp of distant crickets, the occasional flutter of wings. Then he heard them, whispers, not alarming, not strange, soft, welcoming, familiar, though he couldn't place them. They drifted through the clearing, like threads in the air, weaving stories. You walked too long, carrying things that weren't yours. You forgot how to pause. There is no urgency here. Elias felt his eyes close, but he wasn't asleep. He was awake, but resting deeper than he had in years. The fox, who he now felt sure was called, Luna, rested her head on her paws. Her eyes, half closed, shimmered like moonlight reflected on still water. In the quiet, Elias found his thoughts drifting, not like a storm, but like clouds. He looked at Luna and whispered, "Who are you?" He didn't expect an answer, and yet in his mind, he saw something, a memory, That wasn't his. A forest long ago. A man sitting by a fire, eyes red from crying. A white fox approaching, the same as Luna, nuzzling his hand. The man smiled. For the first time in days, the vision faded, but the feeling remained. Luna wasn't just a guide. She was a keeper, a gentle guardian of those who wandered into the woods with heavy hearts. She had no voice, because she didn't need one. Her presence was the answer. As Elias lay back in the grass, the stars above seemed to grow closer. He traced constellations with his eyes. Some he recognized, others knew. The air shimmered gently, and the tree in the center of the grove began to bloom. Soft white flowers opened silently, their petals catching starlight. Each bloom released a sweet, subtle scent, like lavender and memory. Elias sat up and reached toward one of the blossoms. It fell into his palm, like a snowflake, and with it would mean freedom. To remember would mean pain, but also truth. He thought of his mother's voice, long gone, of the friend he never said goodbye to, of the words he held back, the ones that might have changed something had they ever been spoken. Tears filled his eyes, but they didn't fall. He looked at the owl. "I want to remember," he whispered. The owl gave a single nod, and then it disappeared into the trees, without a sound. In its place, a breeze swept through the forest, gentle, cool, cleansing. Elias knelt at the edge of the pool and saw it again, his reflection. But now, his eyes held something they didn't before. Not just peace, not just quiet, but understanding. Luna began to walk again. Elias followed, his steps slower, softer, not because he was tired, but because the stillness was sacred now. They entered the deepest part of the forest yet. The trees grew closer together, their branches weaving like a tapestry. Overhead, the light dimmed, but the darkness was gentle, not frightening. A soft golden glow illuminated the ground in patches. Tiny mushrooms, glowing roots, petals that gave off light, as if the earth itself was exhaling peace. They came to a final space, a circle of ancient stones, half buried in moss. Luna stopped. Elias knew this was where the forest slept, and this was where he would sleep too. Not a nap, not escape, but rest. Real, full, earned. He sat between the stones, crossed his legs, and looked up. No stars, just branches above. But they moved with the breeze, like lullabies. Luna curled up beside him. He placed a hand on her fur, so soft, so real. And for the first time in years, he let go. He let the tears fall, not of sadness, but release. And then he laid down. The moss accepted him, like a bed that remembered his shape. The earth was cool. The air was warm. His eyes closed, and the forest held him. Part 9, a sleep that remembers you. He did not dream, but he did not disappear either. He floated between breath and stillness, between night and nothingness. Time no longer mattered. The quiet was total, but comforting, like a soft in the chest, like hands on your back. When you were a child, you didn't need to know anything. You only needed to be. Somewhere in that silence, a voice whispered, "You are enough. You always were." Elias smiled in his sleep, and the forest smiled back.